stop doing the things that we love doing, a little bit of us just dies. And I've been thinking about this for a while. I work with a group of people who have dementia and they're carers, and I dance with a group of older people, and I love that. And I'm in my 60s, and I'm thinking, are there things that I have given up doing because I'm getting old? So this is my Wednesday Wandering. So welcome to Wednesday Wandering with me, Cate Field, wandering about stuff, not just wandering off. No, I talk about things like well-being and the arts because it's one of my absolute passions to ignite your creative spirit in case you've lost it and to live life to the full. And this brings me back to this point of when does it happen? When do we have that moment where we realise we're not actually doing those things that we used to love? And because stuff got in the way, because life got in the way, or because we started doing something else and that was interesting as well. And our lives go through these cycles, and sometimes we go back to the beginning. And that is with me and dance. Because with art, I've always done art since I was a little girl. My dad is a painter, and both my parents really encouraged me to draw and to paint and to experiment with creating things, which was brilliant. But they also sent me off to dance classes with my sister. And so I learnt ballet and tap and modern, and we did folk dancing and country dancing. I learned ballroom dancing, and it was just all sorts of dance. And I loved it. And I particularly loved classical ballet and contemporary ballet. That they were my absolute loves. And within that sort of dance, I can remember it clearly. I felt free. I felt that the music coming inside, because music, huge part of my life as well, and feeling that music inside my body and then just wanting to let it out and all of that kind of stuff. And so for a very long time, I wanted to be a dancer. I thought that's the path for me. I want to go to the Royal Ballet School in London, and when I was 15, I got into the ballet, and I was going to start, but not until I was 18. Mum and Dad thought it'd be better for me to stay at school. And then stuff happens, doesn't it? I ended up injuring my spine doing gymnastics, because I also liked to do that. Little lesson there: if you want to be a dancer or a gymnast, don't do both. Anyway, enough of that, because that was a bit of a dark point in my life. Didn't end up going to the Royal Ballet School. I did end up going to art college, and that is where I really started to throw my energy into my art. But the dance never went away. It never went away. And although other things happen and life happens, and I got involved in all sorts of other things as well, still drawn back to dance. But I didn't do anything about it, not for a long time. And then when I moved to Dorset, which was 6 years ago, nearly 6 years ago now. Yeah, September 2018. And it just kind of came up again. I thought, I want to dance. I need to be dancing again. But I was working full time. I was teaching in a school, and again, this kind of life life gets in the way, and then you have all of those niggly doubts. Am I getting too old for this? And I think this is a problem. It's a problem. Now, yeah, there are things I know that I'm not going to be able to do. You know, I know that. But everything can be modified. And I learned that through working with older people with dementia and their carers. And one of the things that I've really learned when I'm working with older people doing art and craft is that stuff can be modified. And this is another thing that I'm really thinking about exploring further. I mean, it's something that I've done for years, but I really want to pursue it because I think there are a lot of people, and this might be you watching now, who feels that actually they can't do the things that they want to do anymore because of a whole variety of things. And one of those things might be opportunity. There might be just nowhere in your vicinity where you could go. Or it could be that you're just not physically able to do it anymore. So for example, I've been working with a couple of ladies who are in their 80s and they have arthritis in their hands and their fingers now, and they find knitting really difficult. And so I've been kind of doing a little bit of work with them and thinking about how they can improve their mobility a little bit so it's less painful, but still be creating something and using yarn. So we've kind of been doing a bit of Tunisian crochet where you have one big hook and look, I'm not describing this very well. I might have to show you that. And crochet. Crochet uses different muscles in your fingers. And so we've been looking at that sort of thing. But also we've been looking about, well, how can we use these needles in a different way? Can you hold them in a different way? And it's the same with painting and drawing. We can adapt the tools we use and we can still create. So if you feel that you don't have the fine motor skills that you used to have, using mark making tools to create art is a terrific way of doing something like that. And this is one of the reasons why I love printing. I love printmaking. And I did this with my dad. So my dad's 85, brilliant artist, really, really good. Lots of fine detail, fine watercolour drawings, very detailed, that kind of stuff. And although he still has the manual dexterity, what he doesn't have is great eyesight. And this is getting him down a little bit. So, yeah, he's got good glasses and all of this kind of stuff. But the strain on his eyes when he's working in fine details was just made it wasn't pleasurable anymore. So I got my gel plate. Oh my goodness. He was going, well, what's that then? and he runs an art club near where he lives. He runs it still. He's 85. And he's utterly inspirational, my parents. And he said, oh, you need to come down and teach everybody else how to use this gel plate thing. And so I did. Oh my gosh, it was wonderful. We had such a good session. It was so good that everyone was really up for learning something new, trying something new. And of course, if you are printing, if you're doing printmaking, you don't have to worry about the fine details. You don't have to hold a pencil tightly that can hurt your fingers or hurt your wrist. You can experiment, play, you can use all sorts of different materials and create something different. And I think this is my point, is as we get older, or if something happens, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here. I am doing a bit of a wander. A few years ago, I damaged my right elbow. I am predominantly right-handed, although I am quite ambidextrous, but really damaged my elbow. And it meant that writing, knitting, painting, anything with my right hand was actually really quite painful. And I did need to rest it for quite considerable time, months in fact. And this was very frustrating. I knew it was only going to be temporary, but it was still really frustrating. So I adapted things. I found ways around it. I started using my left hand much, much more. So much so that I still clean my teeth with my left hand, and I use my computer mouse with my left hand. I still do that. But it meant that I had to really think about it, and I had to work out how to do it, because not creating art was not an option. That was not an option. I was still going to create. I was still going to paint. I was still going to sew and do textile stuff. I just had to do it in a different way, an adaptive way. And as I learned how to do that for myself, I realised that I could help other people who also needed to be encouraged to carry on doing the thing that they love, even if they can't do it, or they feel that they can't do it. And so this really is the theme of this week's Wednesday Wandering, is if you are in that situation where you have given up doing something that you love because of life circumstance, because of your physical needs, because of the changes in your life, there might still be a way of doing it. Maybe not exactly the same, but there might still be a way. And this is something that I really do feel quite passionate about, because I think as we get older and our life circumstances change, doing the things that we love throughout our week as part of our weekly normality is essential. That is going to be essential for your well-being, for your health, for your happiness, for your whole demeanour. So there's that. Is that thinking about the things that you used to love to do, that you don't do anymore. You think, oh, I wish I did that still. And it doesn't matter if you're not as good as you were. And this has really come home to me in dance. I was a good dancer. And I'm not bad now, actually. But when I'm dancing with my young colleagues, yeah, I'm not going to be doing that anymore. And that's okay. That is okay. I can still work in the space, I can still work with the choreographer, and I can still dance, and I still have that love. Some things get better as you get older. My writing, for example, when I look back on stuff that I wrote 30, 40 years ago, I think the stuff that I write now is better. I think it's more nuanced, it's more me. And that's good. And so I think we have to be very philosophical about this, but we can be very, very positive. And I think this is my positive message to you, that if there is something that you used to love to do and you're not doing it anymore, think about how you could incorporate that into your life. Or if you know somebody, perhaps your mum and dad, perhaps a dear friend of yours who has some disability, whether it's chronic or whether it's short term, that they can't do the things that they love and it's getting them down. See if you can come up with a creative way to help them to do it, because we can definitely find ways. And it won't be exactly the same, but it could be very, very good. So that's me. That's my Wednesday Wandering for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Perhaps leave a comment about something that you used to love to do and you don't do anymore. Or tell me how you have adapted doing something, and share it with somebody else, because that could be you inspiring someone else. And they could say, yeah, I could do that. I could go back to doing that and it will be good. So thank you very much. And if you want to watch my art tutorials, they're on a Monday and a Friday. So you could look at this one or this one. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.